Ladies and gentlemen, the support line, previously a resistance line, that goes right backwards to 2017's all-time high, cuts through the 2021 all-time highs, and cuts through a couple of retests we had back here in late last year and earlier this year, has been broken. It's been broken for about 20 days now, and for 20 days we've hence been consolidating on top of that line. And over the last 20 days, I've basically said I don't really know when the next move will begin, but for the first time, I sit here today and I say, I actually kind of do now. We have some evidence coming from indicators like the Bollinger Bands of major price compression, evidence that this move, this next move, either to the upside or to the downside, will be happening very shortly. If we see an unexpected FOMC data reading coming out today, could even happen today. So we need to dive into this in this video. It won't take too long today, just recapping some of the prior information and looking into what is new in regards to this compression and our deadlines for the next move. Before we get into it, please check out the Bitunix Exchange. A lot of people ask me what exchange I use as a trader. I use the Bitunix Exchange, and I don't have a contract with them. I haven't signed anything with them. I don't work for them. I advertise them on my own accord. With my referral link down below, you can get a 15% trading fee discount permanently attached to your account, as well as up to 8,000 USDT in rewards just by signing up with my link down below. Why would you sign up? Well, it's global, it's non-KYC, it's never been hacked before, it's got all of the functions and pairs that you would expect for a major exchange. For that reason, I use it. And I implore you to consider using it as well. Sign up with my link to help out the channel, help out yourself. Cheers. I've really stripped down my Bitcoin chart on this YouTube channel to its bare bones. I really don't feel the need to look at much else other than this yellow line right here as our downside breakout line. And this line right here at 110,000 as the validation for that downside breakout. We'll discuss that more in just a moment here. As for the upside resistance level, I don't think it's best viewed on this chart. I think it's viewed best on other charts. But there is resistance here at about 124,000. We just can't see it on this screen here because there's no historical price action in this region. We have to look at charts like this. Charts like the 2-week time frame RSI pattern formation, the triangle formation of a 2-week time frame RSI, which is currently sitting at exact resistance. If we break upwards a little bit more on Bitcoin, of course, that resistance will break and we'll see a momentum shift to the upside. But more precisely, charts like this, the logarithmic regression channel on Bitcoin, the angle of ascension between highs and lows on a cyclical basis, halving each cycle. If we extrapolate that trend forward, we have clear resistance at about 124,000 right now as we speak, being cross-validated independently via the power law chart on Bitcoin, the green line, the center line of that power law chart, offering resistance on multiple occasions over the last 18 months for Bitcoin, and offering resistance again, currently at about 124,000. So there is resistance in this $124,000 region. It's just hard to draw on this chart here because it's not really coming from this chart. If I was going to draw it, it'd probably look something like this. It's slightly ascending. Perhaps it's even parallel with our line going backwards from 2017. That could be an interesting argument you can make there as well. And so therefore, for an upside breakout and any kind of shift to the macro, not only just talking about Bitcoin here, but also talking in relation to altcoins, if we want to see a trigger to an altcoin season, because right now we're only in an Ethereum season, if we want to see a trigger to an altcoin season, it will require a macro shift on Bitcoin, and a macro shift on Bitcoin would be a break above that $124,000 region. Obviously, a macro shift to the downside would be a break below this yellow line, but more importantly, in my view, a break below 110,000, because given how important this yellow line has been historically and the fact that we have faked out above and below it historically, I'd actually be looking for a break below the nearest level below that yellow line to confirm that it's actually broken and not just a fake out. So in reality, the two big levels I'm looking at on Bitcoin for the next macro move to occur would be a break above this white line or a break below this red line. So 124,000 and 110,000 are the key levels right now. And we've been ranging between those key levels for about 20 days. We are obviously in a macro bull market, and that macro bull market is taking place within the broader 4-year cycle. And so I am inclined to be bullish. I do think we will break upwards until any evidence presents itself as to otherwise. I don't really see why you doubt that. There is still at least 3 months left in this bull market from a 4-year cycle perspective. And we've just been waiting over the last 20 days to see, what happens essentially. Now, finally, and the reason I'm making this video is we finally have some sort of indicator telling us roughly when this level or one of these levels will break, when we will see this next macro move. We've been in the dark for 20 days. There's no historical price action here. There's nothing to look at, okay? But if we look at right now as we speak, the Bitcoin daily chart Bollinger Bands, we have the tightest compression that we have seen in a long, long time on the Bitcoin daily chart. The Bollinger Bands are made up of two indicators, two separate moving averages, the upper side moving average and the lower side moving average. And when these moving averages come together, that basically is a representation of how Bitcoin has been doing very little over the last certain period of time. And that represents compression. These two moving averages act as resistance and support on a vague basis. When they compress together, the price gets compressed. And when the price gets compressed, I use this analogy all the time because it's such a good analogy to use. It is almost like holding a beach ball underneath the swimming pool water. When you let go, when the tension finally has to be released and you let go, the ball doesn't just come up to the surface, it also bounces out, right? That's what happens when the price chart compresses across financial markets. When you see Bollinger Band compression like this on major timeframes like the daily chart, when the price eventually moves, we don't just see a little, normal move like this. We see a bump. We see a bump to the downside or to the upside. Luckily, I think the upside bump is more likely, but it's very important to note we have to watch for downside levels just in case. But the point is we have this intense compression, and intense compression like this historically doesn't last very long. Now, the Bollinger Bands is not a very clean indicator to look at in hindsight, unfortunately, because, when you see the resolution, you generally see these Bollinger Bands widen out quite quickly and correct for the compression they once had, because compression only lasts a very short period of time, so it looks like nothing even happened. But we do have a couple of examples of intense compression with daily chart Bollinger Bands, like this example right here, just back in February. Very intense compression. And it only lasted about 2 days before that compression resulted in a move. And that move was very aggressive. You can see it right there, dropping below a neckline in a very sharp move over the course of 3 or 4 days. And that was especially brutal on Ethereum. Another example right here of tight compression. Again, it's quite difficult to get clean examples, but tight compression was here as well and here as well. And you can see on both occasions, those led to pretty sharp moves. So it hasn't got a 100% success rate, but it's very clear that when you see compression, it is probably going to lead to a move in a very short period of time, and that move is probably going to be quite a bit more aggressive than usual. So although I don't have an exact deadline, what I can say is that it's likely going to be coming this week. The start of the move that will result in one of these macro lines breaking is not far away, and we can just cross-validate that with the cyclical context. Right now, we are following the 4-year cycle, and we have no real reason to believe that we're doing anything different from a Bitcoin perspective. And so with the 4-year cycle, what do we have? Well, we have about anywhere between 2 and 4 months left, most likely 3 months left. 3 months is not a long period of time, okay? And if Bitcoin is going to do something else, if Bitcoin is going to make another macro move, if we are going to see an altcoin season, we're on the clock here. And so it would make sense for it to start sooner rather than later. We don't have time. The point I'm trying to make is we don't have time. And therefore, it is probably unlikely for us to see another long, drawn-out 6-month correction. It's simply not on the cards with the regular 4-year cycle. And the regular 4-year cycle has always ended in some sort of aggressive parabolic move, right? So if we were to just consolidate brainlessly until, October and top out a little bit higher, that wouldn't be typical, right? And from a typical perspective, what we can expect is an aggressive move to finish off the bull market. And that means we don't have much time to see that. So I don't think this compression can last very long. I think it will be resolved relatively shortly. And I've said this, over and over again over the last couple of weeks. I said that August will be, in my opinion, a very entertaining month. And I said that July probably won't be. Ever since we moved upwards here in July and first rejected from 124, and I saw the significance of that level from this channel formation and from the power law chart, it was obvious to me that it was going to take some time to break these levels. But I think, any time now. If we actually look at Bitcoin in a 4-hourly chart perspective, with this yellow line still being the one going backwards from 2017, what we can see vaguely is some sort of bull flag formation, right? There is something happening here. It's not immediately clear right now, but there's something happening here on the Bitcoin chart that looks quite good in my view. Whether it be a channel formation, whether it even be some sort of triangle formation, it's very difficult to tell, but there's something forming here, not immediately clear at this point, that could result in something quite big. Either way, I think it's looking quite strong. And one more thing I want to mention is that, and the reason why I left it for the last moment here is because I don't think it's actually ridiculously important right now, because the probabilities are quite stacked in the favor of not really too much changing. But the interest rates decision is coming in 9 hours. And although the interest rates decision itself is unlikely to be a surprise, we're probably just expecting a continued pause here. The speech that Jerome Powell gives after that interest rate decision tonight could be very, very big. So we could actually see a major movement in the market even by the end of today. So please, I think this is the time to be vigilant and to keep your eyes peeled. I know this video wasn't really predictive, but it was just a warning. Be vigilant, keep your eyes peeled. This consolidation is not going to last forever. I don't expect another 6-month correction. I think that August will be quite entertaining. So buckle in. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Please go ahead and check out the Bitunix Exchange. A lot of people ask me what exchange I use as a trader. I use the Bitunix Exchange, and I don't have a contract with them. I haven't signed anything with them. I don't work for them. I advertise them on my own accord. With my referral link down below, you can get a 15% trading fee discount permanently attached to your account, as well as up to 8,000 USDT in rewards just by signing up with my link down below. Why would you sign up? Well, it's global, it's non-KYC, it's never been hacked before, it's got all of the functions and pairs that you would expect for a major exchange. For that reason, I use it. And I implore you to consider using it as well. Sign up with my link to help out the channel, help out yourself. Cheers.